Assalamu alaikum. Today we are talking about The Chimney Sweeper by William Blake. So this poem is about the child labor and the attitude of the arrogant people who employed the young children as chimney sweepers, and consequently most of these children died or suffered heavy lung diseases. So this poem is a criticism on such society. This poem was written by Blake, who was a famous English poet. The Chimney Sweeper is a popular poem on account of its theme of poverty and the life of the working children. It was first published in 1789. The poem comprises the agony of children who were forced to live a miserable life. The children had to survive and earn their livelihood by sweeping chimney at a very young age. It was probably during the time of Blake when he lived and he saw all these things. And the popularity of the poem lies in the innocence of the children, which are shown in this poem. As this poem is about the young chimney sweepers, the speaker details how he gets involved in a chimney sweeping business. He says that his father had put him into the work as a chimney sweeper after the death of his mother, and from there we come to know what happens further in the tale or in the poem. The major themes that are used in this poem are misery, child labor, death, hope, and the diseases that the children suffered from, especially the cancer. The poem presents the miseries of the children as chimney sweepers and their contentment in the life. It is through the mouth of two young speakers the poet conveys his idea that one should not lose hope. First, they are seen unhappy with their job, but later they accept the fate after having that vision, and somehow their lives become easy for them. The belief that their hard work would surely be paid in the long run. When my mother died, I was very young, and my father sold me, while yet my tongue could scarcely cry, weep, 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 weep. So your chimneys I sweep, and in suit I sleep. So this is the first stanza of the poem. So the poem is written in in two divisions, like first in the Songs of Innocence and then in the Songs of Experience. So here the narrator, he is telling that I came into this business of chimney sweeping when my mother died, and I was very tiny at that age, and my father sold me when I didn't even know how to cry, or probably that was the only thing I could do. Like I was very young at age, I could hardly pronounce certain words when he sent me to this chimney sweeping business. So now what I do is I sweep your chimneys and I sleep within the suit. So suit is the very place where there is all the garbage is kept together. Like if you notice the chimneys that we see on the roof, they have an inner structure. So in the old England, these chimneys were cleaned by these tiny people, tiny kids, because they could penetrate into them. Elderly people could not go into it. So they had employed a young lot who could go into it and they would clean it. So उस ज़माने में ये जो चिमनीज थी वो बहुत ज़्यादा टाइनी होती थी. इनकी जो कोई बड़ा इंसान इसके अंदर नहीं जा सकता था, तो इन बच्चों को उसके अंदर जाना पड़ता था और ये सफाई करते थे. और जहाँ पे ये सोते थे वहाँ पे आसपास वो सारा गंद बला होता था जो इन्होंने साफ़ किया हुआ है. इनके पास सोने की जगह नहीं थी. और ये वो लॉट थी जो कि अपने घरों के सताए हुए थे, ये जिनके पास कोई शेल्टर नहीं था, होमलेस थे, ये जिनके पेरेंट्स ने इनसे जान छुड़ाने के लिए या एक पेरेंट ने जान छुड़ाने के लिए इनको इस बिज़नेस में डाल दिया कि इनके ज़रिए कुछ पैसे आते रहे। तो ये बच्चे और तो कुछ नहीं कर सकते थे, तो ये इनको चिमनीज़ को साफ़ करना पड़ता था। सो बड़ी ही मजबूरी की हालत में ये बच्चे ये काम करते थे और उन चिमनीज़ को साफ़ करते थे। This little Tom Darker, who cried when his head, that curled like a lamb's back, was shaved, so I said, "Hush, Tom, never mind it, for when your head's bare, you know that the suit cannot spoil your white hair." So, this stanza is a consolation by the narrator to another character named Tom. And the incident is that Tom, who had long curly hair, just like the back of a lamb, and they were shaved forcibly, and he was bald, and he was weeping on the loss of his hair, and he was weeping since his scalp was visible, and definitely when there were so many children, people would make the children would have made fun of him. So he was weeping for this reason. The narrator consoles him, saying that you need not worry about it, you should not mind this thing, because now the suit and the inner environment cannot destroy your hair. So the white hair means the white scalp of the kid. So here it means that since they were all the time busy in chimney sweeping, and it was all blackish material, all the black coil, or all the the dust, the ashes that they had to clean. So not only their hands, but also their whole body, their clothes, their face, their hair, everything was dirty. So the narrator is consoling Tom Decker that you should not be worrying about your loss of hair. Now, the thing you have lost is no more destroyed by the filthy material where we are working. So जो बच्चा होता है, नरेटर, वो भी एक बच्चा है, वो उसको तसल्ली देता है कि यहाँ पे जिस तरह चिमनी साफ़ कर करके हमारा सब कुछ काला पड़ गया है, हमारी शक्ल, हमारे हाथ, हमारे बाजू, हमारे कपड़े, हमारे बाल भी, तो तुम्हारे बाल डिस्ट्रॉय नहीं हो सकते, क्योंकि ज़ाहिर बात है वो सारा कुछ मटेरियल इतना फिल दिया है कि वो उनके लंग्स में जाके सांस की, एस्थमा की और ब्रीदिंग इश्यूज़ एंड लंग इश्यूज़, कैंसर टाइप, ये सारी चीज़ें डेवलप कर रहा है, तो डेफिनेटली तुम्हारे बालों को भी ख़राब होना ही था. सो यू आर सेव्ड एट वन एंड. सो ये कंसोलेशन टॉम के लिए बहुत बेहतर साबित होती है. उसको ये चीज़ यानी पहले वो बड़ा अफसरदा होता है अपनी जॉब से, तो ये चीज़ उसे किसी हद तक कंसोल करती है, लेकिन आगे जो होगा वो उसको ज़्यादा कंसोल करेगा. And so he was quiet, and that very night, as Tom was sleeping, he had such a sight. The thousands of sweepers, Dick, Joe, Ned, and Jack, were all of them locked up in the coffins of black. So Tom was relieved after what he heard from the narrator. So he was to some extent at peace. But when he had the dream, he was more at peace then. So the dream was about so many other, like thousands of other chimney sweepers who were no more alive. Like Dick, Joe, Ned, and Jack, they would probably be kids that the narrator and the second kid knew them. But there were so many other kids that they did not know them, but they existed, they worked in chimneys, and they died because the chimneys were at till the roof level, and sometimes the children had fatal accidents. Sometimes they fell down to the ground and they died. Sometimes they died because of asthma. Sometimes they died because of lung cancer and certain related diseases. So all those who died at very tiny age, here the poet is talking about them. That Tom saw a dream in which he saw all these kids. तो उसके ख्वाब में ये सारे बच्चे आए जिसमें डिक, जो, नेड एंड जैक, जिनको प्रॉबेबली वो जानता था, और उसके अलावा भी हज़ारों चिमनी स्वीपर्स जो कि अपने कॉफिन में लॉक थे, जो कि यानी मर चुके थे, ख़त्म हो चुके थे अपनी टाइनी एज के अंदर। तो वो सारे इस बच्चे को ख्वाब में आते हैं, टॉम को। And by came an angel who had a bright key, and he opened the coffin and set them all free. Then down a green plain, leaping, laughing, they run, and wash in a river and shine in the sun. So here we are told that then in his dream, when he sees so many coffins of the kids, then an angel comes with having a bright key with him, and he opens all the coffins and sets all the bodies free, and they are all living again. And they go to the green plain, they are jumping, they're laughing, and they're smiling. And they first of all washed themselves in a river because they were all black because of the chimney and its ashes and its smoke. So they first of all wash themselves in a river, and then they shine in the sun. So they are sparkling in the sun. So this is about all of them. तो बताया गया कि एंजल जो है वो उन कॉफिन्स को खोलता है और वो बच्चे आज़ाद हो जाते हैं। वो बड़े खुशी खुशी प्लेन में जाते हैं, मैदान में जाते हैं, छलांगे मारते हैं, हंसते हैं, अपने आप को पहले वो साफ़ करते हैं, नहाते हैं एक रिवर में, और उसके बाद सूरज में वो शाइन करते हैं। इट मीन्स कि दे आर नाउ फ्री फ्रॉम द मिजरीज, नाउ दे आर लिविंग हैप्पी, दे आर seemingly in paradise. सो इन द पिक्चर यू कैन सी कि जो बंदा है वो उस छोटे से लेबर से, जो कि छोटा सा बच्चा है टाइनी एज का, उसको फोर्स कर रहा है उस चिमनी में जाने के लिए। तो ऐसे टाइनी बच्चे उस ज़माने में जब नीचे जाते थे तो इनकी इम्यूनिटी सिस्टम भी कम था, ये जल्दी बीमार भी होते थे, बेचारे मर भी जाते थे और गिर भी जाते थे। तो लेकिन अपने घर की मजबूरी की वजह से उन्हें ये काम करने पड़ते थे। The naked and white, all the bags left behind. They rise upon clouds and spot in the wind. And the angel told Tom if he would be good boy, he would have God for his father and never want joy. And then he sees that all those kids who just took the shower, they left their bags behind. So bags would probably be containing all those material they used to sweep the chimneys. So they left all those bondages behind, all those barriers behind, and then they rose upon the clouds, and they became a part of the celestial world, of the eternal world. They went straight to heaven. And then the angel referred to Tom that if he is a good worker, if he's a good chimney sweeper, or if he's good worker, hard worker all the time, the God will always be with him, and he will always be having joys of heaven, not the joys of the earth, but the joys of heaven. So this is a kind of promise. So जो टॉम है उसके लिए ये बात बड़ी खुशाइंद होती है कि उसको वो एंजल बताता है कि अगर जिस तरह ये बच्चे जा रहे हैं खुशी खुशी हेवन की तरफ, इन्होंने मेहनत की, उन्हें इस मेहनत का फल मिल रहा है, तो तुम भी मेहनत करोगे, हिम्मत करोगे, और तो तुम्हें यानी खुदा का साया भी मिलेगा, खुदा तुम्हारे साथ होगा, तुम्हें जन्नत में लेके जाएगा, और तुम्हें हमेशा वहाँ पे हैप्पीनेस मिलेगी। And so Tom awake, and we rose in the dark, and got with our bags and our brushes to work. Though the morning was cold, Tom was happy and warm. So if all do their duty, they need not fear harm. So when Tom woke up the next morning, like we all woke up in the same suit where it was all dark, we took our bag and baggages, we brushes, and we were ready to work. We were ready to sweep the chimneys. It was a deadly cold winter. It was a cold winter morning. But Tom was happy. He was not sad like the previous night. He was not cold like most of us. He was feeling warm because he was excited because of the dream. And he knew that if they are doing their duty well, they should not be feeling any harm on earth or in the life yet to come or in the heavens above. So अगली सुबह टॉम जब उठता है तो पिछली रात से ज़्यादा खुश होता है, वो बहुत ज़्यादा रिलीव्ड होता है, हैप्पी होता है। हम सब अपने ब्रश उठाते हैं, काम पे जाते हैं। ये एक ठंडी सुबह थी, लेकिन टॉम बहुत ज़्यादा खुश था और वार्म फील कर रहा था बिकॉज ही वॉज एक्साइटेड। और उसे पता था कि जब हम अच्छा काम करेंगे तो हमारा एंड भी अच्छा होगा, हमें डरने की ज़रूरत नहीं है। So here, rising in the dark has two meanings. Like, first of all, they were sleeping in a dark room, dark suit where they used to sleep. So this is the first meaning. The real symbolic meaning is that the dark is that the life full of miseries, the life full of darkness, miseries. वो परेशानियों से भरी हुई ज़िंदगी कि हम रोज़ हमेशा की तरह उसी में हमने आंख खोली और हमने अपने काम की तरफ जाने लगे। तो आज टॉम भी उन्हीं हालात में उठा जिनमें वो रोज़ उठता था, लेकिन आज वो खुश था। आज वो पिछली रात की तरह परेशान नहीं था। So as far as the literary devices that Blake has used in this poem are concerned, so he has used assonance, which is repetition of the vowel sounds, like in weep, 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 weep. So this is assonance. Then he has used metaphor, in like, and so Tom woke and we rose in the dark, where dark is the metaphor for the miserable life. He's also used consonance, which is repetition of consonant sound in the same line, like saying, could scarcely cry. And then he has also used simile, where he says that curled like a lamb's back was shaved, so I said. So when he refers to the hair of Tom, then he has also used alliteration, which is repetition of consonant sounds in the same line, but with quick succession. So, like weep, weep, weep is also example, and could scarcely cry, and so I said. This is also alliteration. He's also used imagery, the naked and white, all their bags left behind, and we rose in the dark with our bags, brushes to work. So this is all imagery, which tells us the image of that suit. And the first imagery where the children were going, so the plane is also imagery of freedom, liberty. And here he is also using symbolism, like both of the kids in this poem, there's the symbol of the symbolic for innocence of the children. Then further, there are poetic devices that are used in this poem. So first of all, there are 5 stanzas in the Chimney Sweeper, and each stanza comprises 4 lines. So this is also called a quarantine, which is a 4-line stanza that he has used. The rhyme scheme he has used is AABB, which follows the whole poem. And as far as the poem itself is concerned, so ये उस इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन के ऊपर एक क्रिटिसिज्म है जो कि विलियम ब्लेक ने यूज़ किया, और उस इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन के अंदर जो बच्चों को वैसे तो एक लाइक जनरल लेवल पे, मास लेवल पे जो एडल्ट्स थे उनका भी इस्तेसाल हो रहा था गरीब लोगों का, लेकिन ये इस्तेसाल जो इन बच्चों का हो रहा था ये बहुत ज़्यादा भयानक था, क्योंकि इनकी एज भी कम थी, इनसे काम भी बड़ा डेंजरस लिया जाता था, कोई ऐसे कवानीन भी नहीं थे जिसकी वजह से इनके इस जुल्म, इन पे होने वाले जुल्म को रोका जाए. So Blake initiated and he wrote against all this violence, against child labor. So this happens to be a great poem in this regard. So thank you very much. Stay tuned.